they would always be real sincere, but it would be like the most miserable way that I've ever heard a person speak. Like they'll be like, "Hey man, don't get married, man." I have a lot of interactions with people, you know what I'm saying? And it's not that I have more interactions than the average person, but I do interact with a lot of different people. And, you know, as it pertains to married men in particular, right? Most of my interactions with married men are them expressing to me why I shouldn't get married. As crazy as it sounds, I think unbeknownst to their wives, a lot of these married men are trying to appeal to single men by telling them not to get married and speaking about how much they regret their decisions to be married. And a lot of it, from what I can tell in my experience, just revolve around the women that they got married to, right? I mean, on this premise, all of them seem to agree with marriage and the benefits of marriage and how that helps the kids and how, you know, kids are able to benefit from having two parents in the household. Everybody talks about the statistics and everybody talk about, you know, kids being raised in single parent homes, namely single parent mother homes, namely homes with single mothers, and just the success rate or the failure rate and how it will be impacted whether or not they had a father in the house. But they seem to have no issue with that. They all seem to agree that a father is important in the child's life, and you know, they want to be there for their kids, those of them who do have kids. Now, most of these married men do have kids. Most of the married men that I've spoken to who seem to have this almost vitriol or just like some sort of regret for being married, all of them had kids. And not only do all of them have kids, to my knowledge and what I've seen, all of them have some sort of health issue. Yeah. And I just want to ask the question, like, why do married men try to convince single men to stay single? Like, what do they get out of that? What is in it for them? Because whether or not a single guy gets married, it shouldn't make no never mind to the married fella. It ain't like it's going to impact his life. Every time they say this or they try to appeal to single men, and my, you know, experiences when I was a single gentleman, that they would always be real sincere, but it would be like the most miserable way that I've ever heard a person speak. Like they'll be like, "Hey man, don't get married, man." like they be exhausted. Like, is marriage exhausting? You know what I'm saying? Is it taxing? You know what I'm saying? Like, you would think that it would make you happier. Like, that's the whole point, right? Like, unless you're not doing it for happiness, you know what I mean? And if you're not doing it for happiness, then what are you doing it for, right? And by them saying it in this most miserable way, I can only assume that they're not confident in the woman that they chose to marry, right? And I'm not necessarily sure what would make a person confident in choosing a partner, but I think also there's an element of not having a lot of experience where these dudes is really marrying their high school sweethearts in a lot of cases. In a lot of cases where a dude is either frustrated with marriage or trying to express to a younger single man why he shouldn't get married, he was with the woman since he was a teenager. In a lot of cases, from what I've seen, I can't say that's universally true. And maybe it's some dudes who got married later in life and really regretted that decision and wish they had stayed single. And maybe they looking at it from a, you know, coulda, woulda, shoulda, or just thinking about what if and having that regret. But most of the dudes don't necessarily wish they were single. Like I said, a lot of them, they have the position of they believe in marriage and they believe in being there for their kids. It's just the woman that they chose to marry. And what I'm saying is I've seen that be the case where maybe it was a situation where y'all was just high school sweethearts and you never was able to go out and get that experience. You was never able to really go out there and date. You was with somebody since y'all was maybe 15, 16 years old, you know what I mean? You dated them all throughout high school, at least towards your junior and senior year. And you stayed with them throughout. You stayed with them through college and probably got married fresh out of college or while still in college, right? Like that lack of confidence, right? That lack of confidence in the woman that they marry, it's accompanied by like a form of abuse too. You know what I mean? Like, you're not just not confident in the person that you married just off face value. It's usually something deeper there. And in a lot of the cases, the dudes either are being verbally abused or even physically abused. And you really can't blame the woman for that. I mean, can you? Like, can you really blame the woman for that? You know what I'm saying? Like, if she's being verbally and physically abusive to her husband, right? Fiance, boyfriend, and he marries her anyway, right? Dude is dating a woman and maybe he's not as strong personality wise, you know what I mean? He may not be so stubborn when it comes to saying no and really standing on what it is that he say he would and wouldn't do. And fellas, you have to recognize that a lot of times women want to see you stand on your ground. Like they really want to see you stand on what it is that you say. And the ones that push and push and push, it's not that they want you to give in necessarily. Some of them might. And those that do, they don't really respect you to begin with, right? The ones that don't have to push and push, you know, just standing on it should be enough for them to say, okay, he's standing on it, they're going to roll with it. And so you don't usually see a lot of, verbal or physical abuse with those sort of relationships. You tend to see that more so with, the relationships where the dude don't really stand on nothing. And then the woman can see that he weak and press and press and press, because it is in a lot of women nature to keep pressing and keep pushing until either you stand up or you give in. And if you give in, you asked out. You know what I mean? It's basically a lose-lose for you. It's not too many places you can go after that. You're going to have to just completely, destroy and rebuild. You have to destroy and rebuild. You're going to have to, end the relationship and begin anew with a whole new person, because that person will never respect you. They'll never see you as a authoritative person because you never asserted yourself to begin with. So you have to be assertive to avoid this. But again, it doesn't necessarily answer the question, why do a lot of married men try to push singlehood on single men who are already single and tell them not to be married? And it's not just a cliche thing. It's not like when older guys or older ladies say, "Oh, don't get old. Don't get old. Whatever you do, don't get old." Well, that's obviously sarcasm, because ain't nothing you can do about it, because it wasn't nothing they could have done about it. But marriage is a different thing entirely, where you have that choice whether or not you want to be married or whether or not you want to have kids. And so from what I've seen too is that when the guy isn't necessarily respected in his marriage, that the kids don't really respect him. And it's because they see that the mother gets the disrespect. And I'm trying to get to maybe what the root of that is, because that may answer the question, do married men tell single men not to be married because they're going to be disrespected at some point? Is disrespect a package deal? Does it come along with the idea of being married? They always talk about men dying first in a relationship, or, the man dying before the woman do, and if they engage in a very long marriage or, just a long lasting relationship. And a lot of the times people think that just boils down to health, and they think women are healthier for some reason. But why are they healthier, right? Is it more common for a wife to put stress on a husband, or is it more common for a husband to put stress on a wife? And I've seen it both ways, so I'm not here to say it's only one way, but I think it's more commonly observed in one form than another, right? Where it's more common to see a husband just severely stressed, man, just real stressed out due to the things that marriage demands, right? The demands of committed marriage and, raising a family, taking care of and providing for a family, protecting them and whatnot. And if a person is being disrespectful or verbally or physically abusive, that can be taxing. Again, is marriage taxing? Is it exhausting?